Rawiri Waititi.
Tēnā koe te pika. Tēnā tātou. We've heard a lot about the situation that we're here in terms of this privilege committee decision. And in this House today, we have heard people who have no experience about the meaning of haka and what the tikanga of haka is and what the whakapapa of haka is. And it is an absolute insult to te iwi Māori to hear people's interpretation of what they believe haka is. Whether they believe it disorderly, whether they believe it violent, it is an absolute insult to sit here and listen to people's interpretation of haka. And we know the Privileges Committee and those who made the complaints rummaged through the Select Committee books to find how they could punish us and find something against their privilege to punish us on. Because it's still unclear why we are being punished, sanctioned. Why? Was it the haka? They say it's not the haka, but I've heard a lot of kōrero about haka. Gun gestures, being on the floor. You don't know, sorry, not you, Mr. Speaker, but the Privileges Committee and the government that supports them actually doesn't know why we are being punished. And not one Privileges Committee member has explained to us where 21 days came from. Not once. We have 6 MPs here to represent the near 1 million Māori that sit outside this House. And don't worry, you say, oh, you only got 3%. Kei te pai tēnā. You've had 180 years of practice. We're getting there in this democracy. I heard 21 years for Te Pāti Māori in this House, but we've only been here for 4 elections. As we mature in this democracy, we demand that this democracy is fair on us, but it is not. It is not. And the 6 of us can take the hits. Talking about scribbles on my face, cowboy hats, and I wear this hat as an acknowledgement to my grandfather and the many crows that went to fight in the Great Wars. C Company were known as ngā kaupoi, the cowboys. This is why I wear this hat. And I took the hat off my grandfather's coffin, so now you know. And the scribbles on my face represents the many of our ancestors that have been the victim of state-sponsored terrorism from this House. And this is a constant reminder that we are still here. Mr. Speaker, today we are ordered from the chamber for 21 days because we dared to meet the treaty principles bill with a haka. This House calls it disorderly. We call it an elevation of our Indigenous voice, a declaration that Māori will never surrender the mana of Te Tiriti o Waitangi. This punishment is not about noise control or standing orders. It is a warning shot from the colonial state that cannot stomach Indigenous defiance. This is the full machinery of the state swinging its hammer at 3 Māori bodies. The hammer may fall on 3 MPs, but the echo is meant to intimidate an entire people into submission. Let the record show why the hammer is so heavy. The Regulatory Standards Bill, a Trojan horse designed to chain every future law to corporate profit and to annihilate Te Tiriti o Waitangi. I direct threat to Te Tiriti o Waitangi and the Waitangi Tribunal, the very room where truth about injustice is spoken aloud, heard and legitimised. A plan to strip Tiriti clauses from 28 pieces of law, page by legislative page, erasing Māori presence from the statute books. This is not reform. It is a proactive repeal of our rights as tangata whenua. And the history tells us that when Māori refuse to play ball, the coloniser reaches for the maximum penalty, just as this House does today. Make no mistake, this government's agenda is a war on many. It is a war on Māori. It is a war on wahine who refuse to be silent. It is a war on takatapui who will not shrink. It is a war on many families living in poverty, and a war on any community that refuses the colonial mould. If we do nothing, Aotearoa will sprint towards the worst fractures of other nations. Division, fear, resentment, faster than we can say kia ora. We have a saying in Te Ao Māori, iti mata kahi maere, kahinga te rākau. This speaks to the small wedge of maere. Although small, it can fell the biggest trees. It speaks to an individual or group, although small, can overcome the greatest of adversities, and in this case, bring down the largest of institutions. Today's prevention proves our matakahi maere has struck at the very core of this institution. So I turn from this floor to the floors of every marae, Church Hall, Union Hall, and Rainbow Community Centre in the land, and I say, Te iwi Māori, our tipuna endured muskets, land walls, the theft of whenua, being beaten for speaking our reo, a 21-day benching is nothing on their sacrifice. To our wahine, the heartbeat of our country, the mantle of your kuia, your grandmother sits on your shoulders. Wear it with unapologetic pride. To our takatapui whānau, your identity is a taonga to our nation. Let its colours lead the march. To our tangata tiriti, te tiriti is your promise too. When you defend it, you do not stand behind us, you stand beside us. We do not ask for sympathy. We demand participation. Flood select committees with submissions defending Te Tiriti o Waitangi. Turn our rage into power and make this a one-term government. Enroll, vote. If you hear the haka outside these walls, add your voice. If you see injustice trending online, amplify the truth. If you feel fear, remember fear is the coloniser's last currency. Spend it into worthlessness by standing up. You can bench my body from this house for 21 days, but you will never bench our movement. In my maiden speech, I talked about one of our tipuna who was hung in the gallows of Mount Eden prison for being wrongfully accused for being harakore. He uttered the words as the noose was put around his neck. And he uttered the words, "Tangohia mai te taura I taku kaki, kia waiata hui taku waiata." Take the noose from around my neck so that I may sing my song. The silencing of us today is a reminder of the silencing of our ancestors of the past. And it continues to happen today. 21 days of silence. This may be confronting, but this is a reality for our whānaus. This is a reality for the people who descend from tipuna, who are wrongfully accused. Because you interpreted something. Interpretation is a feeling, it's not a fact. And so you've interpreted different things to mean that we were violent, and you're making this out to your voters, that we're violent. We haven't created the violence here. And now you've traded the noose for legislation. Well, I've got a message for you all today. We will not be silenced. We will not be assimilated. We will not be subjugated. And we make no apology for being absolutely, unapologetically, unfettered, unbridled Māori human beings. Kia ora tātou.
Casey Costello. Honourable Casey Costello.